Fender Tone Master PRO or Neural DSP Quad Cortex? Which is the best amp modeler in the market? Is the Tone Master PRO the new king of amp modeling pedalboards? Let's find out. First of all, we will hear the two units in action with the demo song, then we will compare the features offered by both the units with a very detailed comparison chart. Then we will hear more sounds in a dedicated section of this video, also comparing these two units versus a real tube amp, checking out the dynamic range management, the note envelope, etc. And finally, I will give you my 2 cents. So I hope you enjoy, and please don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell, as it would really help me to make more videos like this. Let's start with the demo song. Now check out the differences between the two units among the following parameters: number of amps, cabs and microphones built in, third-party IRs, availability and technical specifications, number of patches and presets, number of effects and effect chain management, MIDI availability, audio inputs and outputs, foot switches and external controllers input available, screen size and type, looper, ADA conversion and USB channels, latency time that I have measured for both the unit, special features, current power dimensions, weight and price. First of all, we have 93 amps in the Quad Cortex with 13 dedicated to the bass guitar. Then we have around 115 profiles that are snapshots of a specific settings of an amp. Finally, we have 53 cabs with 7 mics. I'm not 100% sure about the mic number as it varies according to the cab and there are no info in the user manual. On the other hand, the Tone Master Pro offers 27 amps with no amp dedicated to the bass guitar and one dedicated to the acoustic guitar. It also offers 26 cabs with 7 mics to choose and that can be placed around the cabinets. Let me point out a few things here. First of all, I would encourage you to check out the user manuals to verify if the amps you want are available. For instance, in the Tone Master, no angle amps are available, and in the Quad Cortex there are only profiles for angle amps. In the Tone Master, the Soldano SLO100 is totally missing, which is a kind of a bummer, and I hope it will be added with future firmware upgrades. Second, for both the units, if an amp has 3 channels, in the user manual you find it considered as 3 amps. Third, so far, in the Tone Master no models of bass-oriented amp are available, where the Quad Cortex has some bass amps at our disposal. Fourth consideration is that when the Quad Cortex was launched, only 50 amps were available that have almost doubled in 2 years. And we may expect the same will happen for the Tone Master. Lastly, the Quad Cortex has the possibility to create profiles, which is a big plus in my opinion. I have watched a video in the Undertones channel where a Fender guy said that if the amp modeling tech is good, we don't need profiling. Well, I'm sorry, but I don't agree. For me, the possibility to profile a specific setting of my amp, coupled with my cab, with the mics in that specific position, and with my specific mic preamps is something really unbeatable, and that brings a lot of value to a unit, as I can profile my own specific tone. Both the units offer the possibility to load third-party IRs, and we have 1024 user slots in the Quad Cortex and 256 in the Tone Master. The Quad Cortex manages IRs at 1024 sample points, where the Tone Master allows to load IRs at 4096 sample points, which is a pretty impressive value that I think requires a lot of processing power. The Quad Cortex has 32 banks, each with 8 presets for a total amount of 256 presets, with 8 scenes that can be arranged in 10 set lists, while the Tone Masters offer more than 500 presets that can be arranged in 200 songs that can be arranged in 50 setlists. If you have a look at the Tone Master user manual, you can notice that the Tone Master Songs Management allows us to manage presets almost like scenes. Therefore, for both the units we don't have to worry about gap while switching presets. As regards effects, the Quad Cortex has more than 90 effects distributed in 32 blocks that can be arranged in 4 parallel sets of effects. It offers 28 overdrives, 9 delays, 10 reverbs, 10 compressors, 4 pitch shift effects, 20 modulations, 4 EQs, and 5 wah-wah. On the other hand, the Tone Master has more than 80 effects that you can arrange in 12 pre-defined paths, as shown in the screen. We have 21 overdrives, 14 delays, 14 reverbs, 5 compressors, 3 EQs, 5 pitch shifts, 21 modulations and 3 wah. For both of them you can use many effects simultaneously. I would say that the limit is your imagination and well, the DSP power, that on paper is much more in the Tone Master Pro. Here I would say that in terms of type of effects, the two units are pretty much equivalent. What is really different is the signal chain management. In the Tone Master Pro the chain is pretty much developed horizontally, where in the Quad Cortex you have everything on the screen using the 32 blocks distributed in a matrix of 8 by 4. I honestly prefer the Quad Cortex approach for two reasons. Firstly, because I hate to scroll horizontally and not to see all the effects in the chain at a glance, where in the Quad Cortex you don't need to scroll and everything you have in the chain is visible. Second, as I found a little bit more complicated to understand the 12 different signal chains available in the Tone Master than having total freedom in the Quad Cortex matrix. But this is of course a matter of taste. Both offer MIDI I/O connectivity. As regards inputs and outputs, the Tone Master Pro is really incredible, with just one little exception compared to the Quad Cortex that we will discuss in a few seconds. The Tone Master has a guitar input, a combi input, 4 effects loops with 2 of them dedicated for instance to fuzz external effects. It has balanced stereo outputs and 2 pairs of unbalanced stereo outputs, an headphone out and an aux in. The Quad Cortex has a double combi input, so one more XLR input compared to the Tone Master. It has 2 effect loops instead of the 4 of the Tone Master. Then we have balanced and unbalanced stereo outputs and an headphone out. So here I would say that the main differences are the 2 XLR input of the Quad Cortex compared to the one of the Tone Master Pro, which can be useful if you want to sing and mic an acoustic guitar at the same time. Then the 4 FX loops of the Tone Master, which are really a great option. And finally the double stereo outputs available in the Tone Master. So here the Tone Master really offers a lot of possibilities, with the only exception of the single XLR input. The Quad Cortex has 11 dual function foot switches, meaning that they can be served also as rotary knobs in order to change parameters, where the Tone Master has 10 foot switches that are dual function too. The Tone Master has also scribbled stripes over the foot switches that are really nice. The Quad Cortex has 2 inputs for external foot switches or expression pedals, where the Tone Master has 3 inputs and an output for an amp controller. I have to say that the amount of input, output and external controllers of the Tone Master is really impressive. I would say that in terms of screens they are really similar, as both have 7 inches touch screens. The Quad Cortex has a 4 minutes and 44 seconds looper, where the Tone Master Pro has a 60 seconds looper. Furthermore, the Tone Master Pro has an external SD card that I guess could be used in order to store loops. As regards ADA conversion and USB capabilities, here we have some interesting info. The Quad Cortex is pretty simple. It works at 24 bits and 48 kHz and has a 8x8 USB-A audio interface. The Tone Master Pro works at 24 bits and 44.1 kHz, where as an audio interface it offers a 4x4 USB-C audio interface at up to 96 kHz. So the Tone Master has a USB port versus the USB-A available in the Quad Cortex, and I really prefer the Type-C as it is reversible and more user-friendly. On the other hand, the Quad Cortex offers 8 USB channels instead of 4, and this is good as you can record the DI track, the amp sound and the stereo effects all in different tracks. The Tone Master would allow these settings with just the 4 USB tracks available, but unfortunately one of the USB channels is dedicated to the XLR dry input, and it is not possible to set it differently, as far as I understood, which is a bummer. Lastly, I would mention that the Tone Master works at 44.1 kHz, which is quite surprising for me. Of course, in this way you save processing power at 44 instead of 48, but the price to pay is typically aliasing, especially with distorted tones. We will further investigate the aliasing topic in future dedicated videos. You can read the latency values in the screen. for the two use cases I have selected, I mean amp plus cab or tube screamer plus amp and cab plus delay and reverb. And I would not further discuss this topic here, as I have specific videos in the channel and this topic really needs to be properly discussed. As regards special features, I would mention the Wi-Fi capabilities of the Quad Cortex that allows us to do firmware upgrades and upload and download presets and IRs in and from the cloud. Then I would mention the profiling procedure of the Quad Cortex, that is, in my opinion, a killer feature. Among the Tone Master Pro special features, I would mention the Bluetooth connectivity, for instance to stream audio, the SD card slot, which has to be further developed in future, and lastly the PC and phone app with which you can create and manage presets with the Tone Master Pro, that is currently missing in the Quad Cortex but should be developed pretty soon. Actually, I really like the possibility to update the firmware offered by the Quad Cortex via Wi-Fi. It is really very handy, and I also like the possibility to create profiles with the Quad Cortex. The profiling procedure allows me to recreate digitally my sound, my own specific sound, that could be the fruit of my own specific signal chain, and that's great. So I prefer the Quad Cortex route that offers both modeling and profiling in the same unit. Then we have the power needs, where the Tone Master has an internal PSU and the Quad Cortex has an external one. The Quad Cortex, on the other hand, seems to be more efficient as it draws 18 watts instead of the almost 40 of the Tone Master. Here I have a mixed feeling, but well, it's up to you to decide whether you prefer external or internal power supplies. As regards the dimensions and weight, the Tone Master is bigger and heavier, even because the Quad Cortex has an external power adapter. The Tone Master seems quite a bulky unit and not very nice looking in my opinion, where the Quad Cortex, also thanks to its anodized aluminum chassis with those very nice edges, looks nice and premium. I mean, it has that Apple fashion that I honestly appreciate, where the Tone Master in terms of look and feel seems a more ordinary unit. Of course, this is just a matter of taste. On the other hand, I appreciate the inclined front end of the Tone Master, which provides the unit with a more visible screen, especially when the unit is on our desk. And finally the price, which is similar in dollars but not in euro, where the Tone Master is more expensive, even because Neural DSP has just reduced the price of the Quad Cortex. So summarizing, I would say that the main differences are the more amps available in the Quad Cortex, bass amps included, even if I'm sure that more amps will be added to the Tone Master with future firmware upgrades. But currently there are some missing amps in the Tone Master which are hard to accept. I mean, you are dropping $1,700 and you even don't have a Soldano SL100 or some bass amp simulations. Then the Tone Master has way more connectivity options, even if the Quad Cortex offers a double XLR input, which can be useful if you want to mic both an acoustic guitar and your voice. Then we have a different signal and effect chain management, even if I would say that you can achieve pretty complicated settings and effect combinations with both the units. I would just highlight that I prefer to have every effect in the chain visible at a glance in the screen of the unit, rather than having to scroll horizontally, which I found pretty annoying. The looper of the Quad Cortex is way longer, and also the possibility to make firmware upgrades via Wi-Fi is really handy. Then we have 8 USB channels in the Quad Cortex instead of the 4 of the Tone Master, which has a much more user-friendly USB connection. Why builders are still using USB-A is really a mystery to me. Lastly, I would mention that the Tone Master offers way longer IRs at 4096 sample points, which is an astonishing value, even if the unit works at 44.1 kHz, which may induce aliasing. More on that topic in future videos. Let's now compare more deeply the tones and sounds of the two units with some pretty scientific tests. Welcome in the more sound section of this video. This is an explanation of the tests we are gonna do. First of all, we will compare both the modelers versus serial Fender Deluxe Reverb using the riff of the demo song. I have used the first channel of the amp with the gain at 6.5, so on the edge of the breakup, with that little overdriven tone that comes out especially when I push harder the strings. Of course, I have recorded a DI guitar track that then I have sent to the real amp and to the modelers. Furthermore, I have used an IR of a Jensen speaker that I have created myself. The units are set up using the exact same settings of the real amp, no tweaking by my side. Then we will hear a distorted comping part, still taken from the demo song, that has been done using a Marshall Plexi and the relevant Plexi models in the Quad Cortex and the Tone Master. Then we will compare a lead tone done with the tube screamer in front of a Marshall and also adding a delay. With this section, I would like you to hear especially the delays of both the machines. And please have a look at the settings of the delays, because despite being both ping-pong delays, I had to set it pretty differently to let them sound similarly. And finally, we will deeply check out the feel of the two units. I mean, we will check out how they both react to our touch versus a real tube amp. We will use 4 licks, where the first one is used to check out the level of distortion and the overall frequency response, the second is focused on bass frequency, the third on dynamic range management, and the fourth on the note envelope. I am still using a Plexi and the same IR of a Greenback speaker for all the units. I will not say anything during the test, and we will share our consideration in the My 2 cents section of this video. I hope you enjoy. See you soon. Final considerations here, and please notice that these are gonna be my personal opinions and you may not agree with me, and this is totally fine. Let me also add that I have purchased these units with my own money and I'm not paid or sponsored by Fender or Neural DSP. Furthermore, I own the Quad Cortex since more than 2 years and the Tone Master since few days, so I'm more used to the Quad Cortex. Lastly, the Tone Master is, how to say, in its infancy, with the first versions of the firmware, where the Quad Cortex has already had a lot of iterations of its firmware. Let's now share the main selling points, in my opinion, for both the units. Let's begin with the amp sounds. Well, in my opinion, so far, the Quad Cortex is a little bit more close to the real amp. I think that they are both pretty close to the Deluxe Reverb, but the Plexi tone of the Tone Master Pro is too dark. I had to tweak it a lot in order to get closer to the real amp, much more than I tweaked the Quad Cortex. You can obtain good tones with both the units, but the Quad Cortex is closer to the real amp, especially the Plexi. I wanted to test more overdriven amp tones, but despite all the amps I have here, the only high gain amp available in both the unit and that I have is the Plexi, as the Tone Master need more firmware upgrades to increase the amp available in the unit. Furthermore, the Quad Cortex has also the profiling capability, which allows to duplicate my own specific signal chain with my own mic praise, etc., which is the fruit of years of researches and tests. In terms of effects, these are both good options in my opinion. You can easily build complex signal chains with both the units and the sound quality is great in my opinion. Let's now talk about home recording. Well, here, in my opinion, the 8 USB channels of the Neural DSP and the possibility to drive 2 microphones at the same time instead of one, thanks to its double XLR inputs, give the edge to the Quad Cortex, that is a more all-round solution for home recording, even because so far the Tone Master does not have bass amp simulations that are useful for home recording purposes. Don't get me wrong, with the Tone Master Pro you can achieve amazing results, but the Quad Cortex has just more options. I would go with the Tone Master Pro only if you really need that 96 kHz recording option which is missing in the Quad Cortex, that can reach only 48 kHz. In live use, I would say that I prefer the Tone Master Pro for its amazing connectivity options. I mean, 4 loops and 3 outputs are really great. The routing capabilities of this machine is really outstanding. Workflow and easiness of use. Well, the Tone Master has a computer app that should be available pretty soon also for the Quad Cortex. In my opinion, the computer app is a better way to work if you are recording a song, as you have everything in the screen of your computer. On the other hand, the Quad Cortex allows us to perform firmware upgrades via Wi-Fi, which is really handy. And the Tone Master could be controlled also via Bluetooth with a phone or tablet, which is great and handy. So here I would say that it really depends on your needs. And finally, if I had to choose, well, it would be a very hard decision. Let me first of all say that this is totally personal and you can even skip this section if you don't want to be influenced by my personal opinions. Well, in the end, I would go with the Quad Cortex for the following reasons. The first one is the profiling procedure available in the Quad Cortex. I have spent thousands of dollars for being able to record my tone. I am a preamp nerd and the level of satisfaction I got putting in a modeler the signal chain I have dreamed of since I was a child with my mic, my own mic praise, etc. is unparalleled. The second reason is that I prefer to record in different tracks the high signal of my guitar, the amp tone and the 2 stereo tracks with just the effects. So far, I am not able to do it with the Tone Master Pro. The third reason is that with the Tone Master Pro, I found myself having to horizontally scroll the screen a lot in order to see the full signal chain and to access all the effects, where with the Quad Cortex you just have everything on the screen of your device. Then, in terms of pure tone, especially for the Plexi, that I use a lot, I found the Quad Cortex more close to the real deal, where the Tone Master Pro is too much dark. And then the last reason is the look and feel of the unit. I mean, the Quad Cortex has that Apple look with a very nice anodized aluminum chassis with the curved edges and that very nice space gray color. Still, after more than 2 years that I own the unit, every time I see it, I need to use it. It's so cool and nice looking that makes me want to play it. I know this is maybe a superficial opinion, but the more I grow up, the more I get old, the more I like nice looking things. I mean, the more the physical aspect becomes important, from guitars to guitar pedal to amps and amp modelers. I want to be surrounded by beautiful things that inspire me to play. And you know, there is a strong link between art and beauty. The Tone Master Pro looks a little bit more bulkier and ordinary compared to the Quad Cortex. As I said, this is totally personal. And now it's your turn. Please let me know your precious and valuable opinions in the comment section below. I'm very curious to hear what would you choose and which are the key selling points for you. I'm one and you are almost 30,000, so you are the greatest and more valuable resource of this channel. Let me hear your voice in the comment section below. We have now reached the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did it, please subscribe to my channel, ring the notification bell and leave a thumb up. It would be of a great help. If you're interested in my IRs or in my Tonix profiles, you can check out the link in the card above or description below, where there is also a link to a playlist of songs of mine. Thank you so much for watching and see you soon. Bye bye.